All right, good afternoon. 1-0 after win on Saturday, and it's always good to get started on a good note. A lot of mistakes and some teachable moments in this game for sure. We've got a long way to go, and we definitely got to get better. I think that goes without being said. I was proud of how our guys played through and handled some adversity. We really haven't had any, and going down at half, 7-3, and then coming out and playing considerably better in the second half, I think it's a testament to them. What I'll do, and I'll kind of do this routinely in this weekly press conference, I'll kind of give a game recap, kind of look at all three phases, and I'll kind of fill you in on who won awards and why they won them. So real quick, special teams-wise, I thought it was a huge factor. If you look at it, I think the reason we won that game, turnover margins, special teams plays, and we were able to stop the run in the second half. Two game-changing plays on special teams, the fumble recovery and the blocked field goal. The blocked field goal was played big. I thought our coverage units did a good job. They dinged us with a kickoff return late, but I thought they did a good job. We held the FCS Special Teams Player of the Year last year to 4 return yards on our punt team. So I think we did a good job in both coverage units. I think our punter and our kickoffs, both Josh and Evan's got to be more consistent on his kickoff locations, and we've got to get the ball in the air a little bit longer. Defensively, we had 2 takeaways. Thought our red zone defense showed up, holding them to 2 field goals there in the second half. I thought it was important. We got to improve in stopping the run, and really where they hurt us is in the second quarter. They really hit some runs and really some quarterback stuff, some things that they hadn't shown on film, and they did a good job game planning us, honestly. Thought we did a nice job applying pressure to the quarterback, especially once we got ahead. We were able to put them in some pass situations, and our defensive line was able to get some pressure. I think it was very beneficial. We played multiple bodies, and we were able to keep guys fresh. And we allowed very few explosive plays. Offensively, 0 turnovers, and that's probably about I thought our completion percentage was high. Our pass protection was pretty sound, other than a couple of mistakes out of one guy. But a poor performance overall. The run game was really poor. You can look at a stat sheet and say that. I think we lacked physicality across the board. It's easy to blame the O-line or the running backs in the run game, but everybody has a piece in it. And it just wasn't very good. We had 5 procedure penalties. I think 3 of them were on third down. Maybe that took us. 2 of them I know took us from third and 2 to third and 7. That's not going to get it done, especially as we play better people. And then we had 5 or 6 drops. I counted 6. If you're being lenient, it's probably 5 drops. So we got to do a better job catching the ball as well. Some of our awards, and these are the weekly awards we'll do when we win. Players of the week, special teams, we did 2. We gave it to X-Ray Lowe. He was on the fumble recovery. He did a great job, too. He's been one of our better special teams players, really, since I've been here. And then Darius Steele's blocked the kick, the field goal. And really, Jeffrey Pooler is the one that set up that block. He did a tremendous job getting the penetration, and then Darius did what he was coached to do to block the kick. Defensively, Reuben Jones, 2 sacks of pressure. He graded out at 93%. He's a high motor guy, and I've bragged on him in this spot before, but he's been a great take for us for what he's done in our room, how he's played. Offense player of the game, 4 receptions, 74 yards, a touchdown, and I talked about this after the game. One of the most critical plays in the game was first play of the second half, and that's Tevin Bush. Offensive lineman of the game, Colton McKivitz, 95%. He had 0 MAs and was the most productive. We grade our guys on a percentage on how they grade from a plus-minus assignment effort, but then we do a production grade, and his production was considerably higher than any other O-lineman. A couple of other awards we give a community service award for the week, and that's the guy that's done the most community service. In that time, Josh Groudon was the winner of that. He put in multiple hours, and again, he's been a great asset too. He did a good job at LSU. He was always on social media for doing community service there as well. Great kid. And then our juice guy. So our juice guy, you probably saw that on social media when we released it. We do a juice squad on the sidelines. Those guys are guys that aren't playing, but everybody has a job, and their job is to keep the sidelines alive, and when it gets dead, try to get people into it. J.P. Hadley, who's a redshirt freshman long snapper. He was our juice guy, and he did a great job. We need to put a GPS unit on him because he probably traveled considerable distance. And then our scout team players of the week, Lorenzo Dorr. I talked about it on my weekly radio show. He's playing a little bit of special teams, but he was a scout team offensive player. Defensively, it was Sam Cookman, and on special teams, Alonzo Wadai. So that's a wrap up on the game from Saturday against JMU. Glad we got a win. Long ways to go to get better to get where we need to be. Moving on to Missouri. Talking about Missouri, one of the hottest teams in the country coming in to the opening weekend. Lost last week at Wyoming. Vic was the head coach of Wyoming there for a long time. He and I talked about some of the effects that the elevation has on teams, and I think that probably played a role. The other thing too is you just never know what you're going to get in opening games. They didn't play their best, but I fully expect to see an entirely different team when we line up and play in Columbia on Saturday. I've got a lot of respect for Barry Odom. I think if you played against him, offense versus his defense before, I think if you look at his tenure, I think he's in his 4th year there as a head coach. Anytime they've had adversity, his teams have always responded in a big way, and I expect them to do that this Saturday and play a lot better brand of football. Preseason, they were picked to contend for the East. And I understand why. They've got, I think, 11 guys on preseason watch list. Offensively, they've had as good an offensive unit as anybody in the country over the last 4 years. Consistently been in the top 10, top 15 in a lot of categories. Starts for them with Kelly Bryant, transfer from Clemson. Very high winning percentage as a starter. Threw for over 400 last week. And I think he wants to prove himself as a passer, and I thought he did a nice job of that last week. At running back, they've got 2 guys that I think, and it's a real strength for them. They got a Roundtree who rushed for 1,200-plus yards last year. He was an all-SEC guy. Then they got a kind of a scat back Beatty who's really good in the kickoff return game as well. He was freshman all-SEC. And then tight end, All-American. He's a dude. He's going to make a lot of money. And at receiver, Johnson, their leading receiver, returns. He does a really good job in the slot, creating space. And then Nance, who transferred from Arkansas, had 2 touchdowns last week, and he's a big explosive play. Familiar with him. He played, I think he was at Gulf Coast, Mississippi Junior College. And they've got 2 preseason all-SEC offensive linemen. So a lot of experience over there on offense and a lot of production. Defensively, 3 guys that stand out to me. First one is the D-tackle, Elliott. He is your prototypical. He's first-team All-SEC. He's difficult to move in the run game. He's one of the best pass rushers in the country from the interior spot. Their Mike linebacker, Garrett, was an All-SEC player last year, leading tackler, really smart, does a nice job getting downhill, does not miss very many tackles. And then they've got AC playing corner, who's long. I think he led their team in interception last year, so he's a solid player too. On special teams, they've got their kicker, punter, McCann. He's been their kicker and kickoff specialist. Kicks the ball deep on kickoffs. He's got good leg strength on field goals. He's handling their punting duties, and I think he had a 58-yard punt in the game on Saturday. And then punt returner, we've got to be ready for him. Floyd had a 43-yard return last week. He returned 2 for touchdowns back in 2017, so he's explosive. So we've got our hands full. We're looking forward to getting on the road for the first time, going to Columbia, 11:01 kick, national TV, and I expect us to play a lot better football as well. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
So Neal, you said first road game for you guys, obviously a young team. Any prediction on how you can react, young guys react in their first road game? What problems do you face with that?
I don't. The first road game to me is not as big a deal as your first game of the season, and so I thought our guys settled down and played better in the second half on Saturday. I think we got a lot of the nervousness out in this first game. I don't think going on the road, other than just handling the travel, will be that big a deal for those guys.
Neal, you mentioned that you thought the team lacked physicality this week. Is that something you can correct in 1 week, and how do you go?
Well, we're going to try. We're going to try. And part of that is, especially from the offensive line standpoint, is when guys get concerned about missing guys, and they don't come off the ball as hard. And I think that's what happened a lot to us on Saturday, is those guys were playing, either a new position or never played before, meaningful snaps. They wanted to make sure they got on their guy, and they were scared of really coming off the ball for fear of missing and having to tackle for loss. And what we got to do is you got to play in good body position, and you got to use your hands where you can be explosive off the ball. All right, and if you do that and you do what your coach should do, keep your eyes up, you will make contact. All right, and you will get movement. Okay, so I think that's what we got to do. Will we come out and run the ball like Army on Saturday? I don't know, but I hope we're a lot more physical than we were last Saturday.
What do you think of Josh's first day, snapping and really getting engaged?
Yeah, he did a nice job communicating. We were on the same page. That's why, other than a couple of errors, missed assignments in pass pro, and that wasn't his fault. So our communication was really good. His snaps were good, and that's the reason we moved him there. He's got to play with better pad level. He's got it, and he's one of those guys. He needs to come off the ball. I think at center you got a lot going on, and they moved a bunch on Saturday too. But his pad level's got to get better. But I think for a first game playing there, he played pretty good.
Can you get a lot out of what Wyoming did to their defense, considering they play a different type offense?
That's a good question, John. What they did is they basically were in a lot of 12 and 21. They're talented at tight end. The biggest difference between them and us is their quarterback hit 2 really explosive runs, and the kid he's fast, and he looks big. I don't know it. I was on with Newhousel yesterday, and Newhousel did the game, and he said he's a really big kid, and so they hit him with some quarterback run, and what they did is they were able to play multiple tight ends too, sometimes 3 tight ends, and they shifted them and traded them and caught them out of gaps. So that personnel we don't have necessarily a running quarterback. We don't have that many tight ends that are ready to play. So, exactly how they ran the ball and how we can run the ball don't necessarily match up.
What are some of the things you can do? You mentioned being, I guess, too vanilla and needing to dress things up. What are some options?
Well, we were purposely vanilla in the opening game, and some of that is because I probably overestimated our ability to get some movement at the point of a contact. So that's on me. I think the second thing is I thought we played a little cautious as far as coming off the ball, like we talked about when Tom asked that question. But we've got different things. A lot of these game plans are, we did a lot of this stuff over the summer, and you kind of build out about 4 weeks in advance. And one of the things you try to do offensively is give some different presentations and do some things. You go back and you self-scout yourself, which we've done a bunch. Make sure that you want to have a good understanding of what the defense thinks coming from what you've done in the past. So you try to cross that up a little bit. And you plan that out. So what we did is basically we did a lot of work on Missouri during the summer. Went back and looked at personnel and how they handle some things versus Wyoming and tinker with that game plan, and that's kind of where we're at.
You mentioned X-ray Low on special teams. How does he play when he gets in there at the linebacker?
Yeah.
And do you have to find a way to get more time out of him?
Well, I think he played close to 20 snaps maybe on Saturday at linebacker. Really high effort guy. Probably can up his snaps a little bit. And I think he earned the right to do that. He's a guy that he runs really well, plays sideline to sideline. He's put on some weight, so he's kind of learning that position. But he's a guy that's done a nice job backing up Josh. We probably played Josh a few too many snaps, talking about Chandler on Saturday. So I think X-ray is proving himself to get some more reps for sure.
Talked about perimeter blocking yesterday, I think it was. Have you seen better out of that in camp, or was it just
no? That was one of the biggest surprises for me. We've really blocked well on the perimeter. T.J. Simmons in particular has been our best perimeter blocker. He did not block very well. I thought Sean Ryan did a nice job, but outside of Sean, we struggled, and it's all technique. It's not want to, wasn't lack of effort. It was poor technique, and it's not being physical enough. And TJ will be better. He's been better. Why he didn't block any better? I know why. It's technique. Why did that happen in that game? I'm not sure why.
What was the best part or most rewarding thing for you Saturday?
That we won. No. I mean, it's to get through the first game. There's so much that goes into it. It's like I tried to explain this a little bit after the game. Offensively, in particular, and in the defensive secondary, somewhat as well, is you prepare. But when they get out there for the first time, there's going to be a little bit lost in the moment. They're going to do some things that you hadn't seen, and there's, as a coach, even though it's coming, it's still frustrating, and so like I prepared myself. I knew I knew some of those things were going to happen. So to get that, not play well, get some teachable moments, but still find a way to win the game, and that was rewarding.
When you go get post-grad transfers, it's different than the traditional guys who sit out a year and they can kind of learn the way and they get indoctrinated. Do you evaluate differently or look for different things because it has to be so right away with those guys?
Well, I did this year. Because the culture was really important. We were in culture building mode this summer without a doubt. And I've said this before, kind of when I got here, kind of really just kind of took everything in for a few months. And then we started really trying to build late in the spring, and then through the summer we were in culture building process. So we were really choosy about who we brought in because they had to be guys that built the culture. All right, and that's why you see, George Campbell, who graduated in 4, tremendous kid, everybody, okay, knew people that were connected to him that I trusted, that would attest to his character. Reuben Jones, talked about after the game, knew people attached to him. And so Josh Grout the same way. So I was really choosy. Now, down the road, when I feel better about our culture and I feel better about the makeup of our locker room, it'll be maybe based a little bit more on talent than it was necessarily what they're going to bring to that position room. Does that make sense?
Is there a sense of reward or vindication when all three of those guys had an impact on your first game?
Well, I think anytime in recruiting, you trust your evaluation process. It's never going to be 100%. But you should very rarely miss on character, if you're asking the right questions. To me, it's about asking the right questions. It's like when I ask my daughter, if I ask her how her day went, I expect to get good. That's a bad question, right? You know what I mean? So you got to ask the right questions, and you got to have people that you trust around these individuals to get good information.
How do you prepare a team that's going against a team that's cornered already and desperate, not desperate, but, coming off a disappointing loss with big expectations? How do you prepare a team for that?
Yeah, I don't think you prepare them any different. The way I look at it, we should be really a hungry football team coming to this game. We didn't play necessarily very well in the game on Saturday. Found a way to win. We got a long way to go. We got an extremely tough schedule ahead of us, and so in Missouri, they're not pleased with how they played. They lost on the road. They're opening it up. To me, after about the first 2 or 3 plays, none of that matters. Okay, so how we practice, how we handle ourselves today and tomorrow will be a big determinant, but we've got to be hungry. I expect them to be hungry, but we better be every bit as hungry or maybe more so.
We still got a 5-game homestand. That's pretty rare in college.
That is rare. I saw that today. I just happened to look at the schedule today. That is rare. The SEC playing the 8 conference games, most of those guys are having 7 and 8 home games.
You played a lot of people Saturday, and you said you were going to. Did you get everybody in you wanted to? And you look back, you go, no.
Yeah, we played everybody that we wanted to. There's probably some of those young kids we'd like to play a little bit more. Tyke Smith, we'd like to play him a little bit more. We got Jordan Jefferson in there. Thought he gave us quality snaps. And we played those 2 in particular at key times. Nick Troy played a good bit. KJ Martin played a good bit. So we played everybody that we really intended on playing. We probably could have played some of the young guys a little bit more.
Coach, you mentioned Tevin Bush. What did you think of his performance Saturday?
I thought he was big. You know, we named him the offensive player of the week. I thought he ignited us offensively. You know, I think that first play of the second half was big. The catch of the day was the one he made on the sideline and toe tap to stay in bounds. The touchdown now, I mean, I might have been able to get that one. You know what I mean? They blew a coverage, but he's been a guy that's made a bunch of big plays. He hasn't always been the most consistent. So the challenge on him is, and I think he's going to be a big factor how we're going to be offensively, is he's got to consistently make those big plays.
Mike Brown show his inexperience a little bit in that game, or did he?
Yeah, he was a little overexcited. Yeah, he was overexcited. You know, he's got to be able to handle his emotions better. You know, he's got to. He knows what to do. When the picture was a little bit different than what he was expecting, he didn't handle some of those adjustments very well. I expect him. Sam James, Sean Ryan, O'Laughlin, you know, those guys, Sinkfield, those guys that played their first real meaningful snaps on offense. I think all those guys will play considerably better on Saturday in Columbia.
And with the illegal procedures, I think one of you guys were going tempo, had a right tackle.
Yeah,
nothing seemed.
Nah, none of them were consistent. One of them was on the quarterback. One of them was on Kennedy, who this loaf getting lined up, honestly. And then O'Laughlin got in his stance too early in the 4-minute deal. You know, freshman mistake. He's not supposed to get in his stance until about 10 seconds on the clock. He got in and held it for 25, and he flinched. You know what I mean? And then we had, and then Mike had one. You know, it was a collection. You start getting worried about him if it's the same thing over and over. And like I said, it's one of those things as a coach, like, I knew we were going to have procedure penalties. You know what I mean? Like, I knew it. We had very few in scrimmages, but I knew it's one of those things you get out into a game scenario and you're on television, the stands are full. You're going to have some of them. Now, I wish 3 of them didn't happen on third down, and one of them happened in a 4-minute setting. You know what I mean? You know, at critical times. But, you know, those are things I think that we'll improve on.
You know, you simulated the home game. Mm-hmm. Can you simulate this away game for the staff and for the team?
You know, the good thing about this game for the staff, I think most of our staff has played there. You know, so there's some comfort in knowing, you know, what your hotel, what the locker room looks like. Now they've renovated it. They were in process last time I was there. I think they bolted it in maybe. But now you can't really simulate it. Honestly, it's not that much different. The home game, I think you got to get on a plane. You know, we'll ride to Clarksburg and fly out.
Neal, this is kind of a weird question. Sorry. But I noticed something Saturday that I hadn't really seen. Your players warmed up and they didn't have pads on.
Yep.
Just T-shirts.
Yep.
It made it really hard for me to tell who was who as I was trying to figure out who your starting right guard was. Is it a strategy or a little bit of secrecy? Or maybe
No. It wasn't personal. Yeah, I'll tell you, honestly, here's why. We started in Troy in 2016. And we really started it because our kids were losing so much water weight during warm-ups, all right, because it's so hot. And we played all our games in the Southeast, and it was so hot they were losing a bunch of water weight, all right. Then our kids really liked it because they felt really fresh because they're running around out there. They don't have pads on. They feel really fresh. So when I came here, obviously the weather's not as big a factor. But I told our guys, I was like, hey, I told our leadership council, hey, this is what we did at Troy. We'll do whatever you want to do. If you want to warm up in pads, you'll warm up in pads. If you don't, then we won't. And they said, no, we'd rather warm up in just helmets. And so that's what we're doing. Shoulder pads for the quarterbacks and long snappers just because of the motion. But, you know, if it gives them a psychological advantage, then I'm all for it. And it doesn't matter.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you all.
Yep.